cause I'm a fool for your love.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we are going to be doing a first impressions on the Juvias Place foundation, concealer, and powder. So a lot of the videos that I was watching on this foundation, I feel like were just on the foundation or the concealer, but I wanted to review and kind of give you my first impressions on all three complexion products from Juvias Place. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know I'm a Juvias Place fan. I love all their eyeshadow palettes, so I really wanted to try out the foundation, concealer, and powder. So if you want to see my thoughts and first impressions on these products, then definitely keep on watching. Alright, so I actually placed this order a couple weeks ago, and as you can see, I've gotten quite a bit of color. I was at the beach this weekend, and I was literally on the beach all day Sunday, from morning till like 5 o'clock. So I got a lot of color. I get pretty tan in the summer, so I did buy 3 shades because I was not sure which shades I was going to be. My only concern is the concealers. I hope they're not going to be too light. My face does have a bit of color as well. I did get burnt on my nose. I know. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I didn't reapply my sunscreen enough, so I did get a little burnt on the nose. But yeah, so my skin is a little bit more dry than normal. I am oily skinned most of the time combo, but in the summer I'm definitely more oily. But since I was in the sun so much this weekend, my skin is feeling a little bit on the drier side, so I'm not going to be using a mattifying primer. We're kind of going to add a little bit of moisture into our skin before we go in with this really matte foundation. So starting off, we're going to prep the skin. So I'm going to be using the Garnier Skin Active Hydrating Facial Mist. And this is just going to hydrate the skin. This is made with aloe juice and made without parabens, dyes, and silicone. So this is just a nice, refreshing facial mist. Instead of using a primer today, I'm actually going to be using the L'Oreal Lumi Lotion in the shade Medium. I really love this, especially for summertime, and I actually use the light shade of this in my kit a lot. I just really love it. It's a really beautiful lightweight lotion with a little bit of a sheen to it, so it just adds a nice glow to the skin, but it does dry down. It doesn't leave your skin feeling like tacky and greasy. But since I want to add a little bit of moisture to the skin before going in with the matte foundation, I feel like this is the perfect lotion to use. So I'm just going to take a foundation brush and just apply this to my skin. And as you can see, it just adds like a nice glow to the skin. So now that I have that all over my face, as you can see, it just has like a really beautiful glow. We're gonna move into the actual product. So this is what the packaging looks like. It kind of matches my shirt today. So yeah, this is what it looks like. It comes in this nice little box. And then the actual packaging of the product looks like this. So it's in a little squeeze tube, which some people don't really like, but I personally don't mind it. I could see how this could be a bit annoying if you were using this in a freelance kit because you can't actually see the colors. I mean, it's a coral tube, so that part's a little bit annoying. But this is the shade. I think I'm going to swatch the 3 shades that I got, and we'll pick out a shade together. So this is the shade 540 Giza or Giza. Not really sure. By the way, they all come with a little seal. I already took the one off of this one, but if yours is not sealed, I probably wouldn't use it. It does come with a little tin, like aluminum foil seal that you have to take off and unscrew this and then peel it off. So just a little, just a little FYI. So I do like the fact that this is in a squeeze tube. I feel like it's very easy and convenient. So I personally like that. So I'm just going to squirt a little bit of Giza on the palette, on my stainless steel palettes, and then we'll take out the other 2 colors as well. The next color I got was 610 Cebu, so we'll squirt that out. I think that's the lightest shade I got, and then the last shade is 450 Casablanca. The first shade is Giza, so I'm just going to take a little bit of that and swatch it right there. Okay. So that is that shade. The next shade is Cebu. So that's that shade. It's looking a little light for me. And the last shade is Casablanca. So that shade definitely looks a little bit dark, but it's definitely a good shade to have. Because I could always mix it in with other shades if they're not working for me. I'm not gonna lie, the first shade is kind of looking like my perfect match. Yeah, I feel like that's a pretty good match. So I think I'm gonna go with the first shade, which is the Giza shade. Again, guys, I'm so sorry. I don't know if it's Giza, I'm not really sure, but I'm just gonna wipe that off, and then I'm just gonna apply that Lumi lotion again in that area. All right, so I think, like I said, we're gonna go in with Giza, whatever. And I feel like this is going to be more than enough. This is the color right here. I feel like that's definitely gonna be more than enough for my face. So I'm going to use a beauty sponge just because I feel like that's lately how I've been liking to apply my foundation. I go back and forth. Sometimes I like brushes, sometimes I like sponges. It honestly just depends. So I'm gonna go in with a little bit of the shade on the beauty sponge, and then I'm just gonna work this into the skin. Oh wow. Wow. The coverage is definitely there. Well, okay. Wow. It's really high in coverage. Like, I put the tiniest amount on my beauty sponge, and I feel like that really covered a lot of my face. And I will say this, it looks beautiful. Like, it really looks beautiful. It's not like a drying matte. You know, some mattes can look really dry. Since this is a moussier texture, like you can see, it's not moving. It's not liquidy. It's not going to run. This is more of a moussey matte texture. And I find sometimes when matte foundations are more of a moussey texture, they actually are a little bit more flattering on the skin and don't give that really cakey matte look. Sometimes really liquidy foundations that claim to be matte, I feel like you put them on, they're super liquidy, and then all of a sudden they dry down and your face feels like it can't move. Where this just kind of goes on as is. You know what I mean? Like, it's not really like gonna dry down to this really, I mean, I don't really know because this is the first impressions, but I feel like with moussier textures, you just kind of apply it onto the skin as is. It's not going to do this weird drying thing where some really liquidy matte foundations do that. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but anyway, we're just going to go ahead and keep applying. It definitely is a little light for my nose, but it's okay. By the way, I'm using this sponge by e.l.f., if you're wondering. Well, I'm really liking the look of this so far. So this is just one half of my face. I'm really liking the look of this so far. I feel like it's a really beautiful foundation. It doesn't look cakey. Yeah, I don't know. I like it. I like it so far. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply it to the other side. Yeah, that was way too much for this side. I really like how effortless it is to blend this foundation in. I know I'm kind of looking a little light. I'm gonna go ahead, I think, and use the darker shade that I got and bronze up the skin in a little bit, but what I was saying was I really like how effortless it is to blend this foundation in. I feel like it doesn't look like, I feel like it doesn't take a lot of effort, where other foundations take a lot of effort to blend into the skin. I feel like this just kind of blends in like seamlessly. I like that. It is looking a little weird on my nose, and that is only because, I can tell you right now, it's because, like I said, I got pretty sunburnt on there, so my skin is really tight and dry. Like, I feel like I'm gonna peel there. So, but it's honestly not bad at all. Like, it's not that noticeable, but it's looking a little bit weird on the nose, but I think that's only because I got super sunburnt there. But for the most part, I mean, it looks pretty good. So I think it's a pretty good shade for me. It's a little bit light, like compared to my chest, but we're gonna go ahead and bronze. But I do like it. I'm just gonna go ahead and add a little bit more on the inner part of my nose because I'm pretty red there. So far I am liking it. So I think now I'm actually gonna go in and kind of bronze up my skin a little bit. And I'm just gonna use the darkest shade, which was Casablanca. And I'm gonna use this to kind of cream contour, like cream bronze, I guess. Applying this color like on the perimeters of my face, my forehead. So overall, I am liking the foundation. I don't know if I like it better than my L'Oreal. I don't know if I'll ever like any foundation better than that, but I do like it. It looks really pretty on the skin. And yeah, so we're gonna move on to the concealer. So I got two shades. I got 20 and 21. These concealers are huge. They are really, really big. And yeah, I'm curious to see if I like these or not, but yeah, they seem like they're gonna be a little light for me, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna go in with 20 because it's a shade darker. So the way the Juvias Place foundation works is the higher the number, the lighter the shade, where most foundations and concealers are like the higher the number, the darker the shade. So they switched it, and I think that's pretty awesome that they did that. But anyways, I am going to try shade 20. So this is what it looks like. It is a huge doe foot applicator. It's kind of like Tarte Shape Tape, very, very similar. So we're just gonna go in with this and hope it works. I'm only going to apply this underneath my eyes. I'm not going to apply it in the center of the face just because I feel like it's too light for the center of my face. I wish I got a couple shades darker, but it's all good. We'll see how it looks underneath the eyes. So I'm just again going to use my sponge and just going to blend this in. So the coverage seems really, really nice. It's definitely like a pretty liquidy, like creamy consistency, which I like. But yeah, so far I'm really liking the coverage of it. Like, it's pretty full coverage. But I can see, like, I feel like if you don't apply as much of it, since it's such a creamy consistency, you could make it more of like a medium coverage. But I applied a decent amount, so it's covering pretty well, which I really like full coverage concealers. If I'm gonna be putting on concealer, I want it to cover up these dark circles, so, but you know, that's just me. Concealer, which I've seen a couple people say this, I feel like the concealer is more of like a medium coverage where the foundation is full coverage. So it's interesting to pair like a full coverage foundation with a medium coverage concealer. I feel like it's usually the opposite way, but it works because the foundation is more of like a matte finish. This has more of like a natural finish to it, so it kind of like balances each other out. But yeah, I mean, the concealer looks pretty good. Am I like 100% wowed by it? No, but I definitely would use this, you know, until I finish it. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm just gonna move on to the powder. Oh my god, my phone is like in the foundation. Okay, I was really curious about this because I haven't seen too many videos that have mentioned the powder or shown the powder. I'm sure there's plenty out there. I'm just saying the ones that I watched just kind of showed the foundation and the concealer. So I wanted to try the powder. So I did get it in the lightest shade, which is White Sands, which now I'm thinking I probably shouldn't have because I'm tan, but whatever, we're gonna make it work. We're gonna see how it layers on top of the concealer, if it's nice and smooth, you know, what is this powder like? Let's see. So I'm just gonna open up the packaging. It kind of has a similar color to Fenty's Powder in Butter. So maybe it will work because I love that powder. So I'm just gonna put some in the cap here. And then I think I'm just gonna go directly in with my beauty blender. And we're gonna see how this looks. Before I apply it on top of my concealer, I wanna make sure that there's no creasing going on. Okay, so moment of truth, I'm going to apply it. I'm also going to apply it down the center of my nose and in between my eyebrows. So I'm not really sure if this is the kind of powder that you should like apply heavily and then dust away, or if you should just press it in with your beauty blender. So I kind of pressed it in on this side and it looks pretty good. I'm noticing a little bit of separation right here with the foundation. But again, I don't know if it's because I got a little sunburn in this area and my skin is just kind of drying out. I have a feeling that's what it is because I know my skin and I feel like that's kind of what's happening. But yeah, so I'm just gonna dust away the excess powder and see what I think of the powder. I'll be honest, you guys, I'm not loving the look of the concealer and powder together. It just doesn't look that smooth to me. Like, it looks fine from here, but I feel like up close, like, I'm not loving that. I'm just being honest. Doesn't mean that this powder is bad or the concealer is bad. I'm thinking, I just don't know if I like them together, which is interesting to me because I don't know why you would make two products that don't really work that great together. And it could just be my skin. There's many factors that go into it. I'm just telling you honestly, I'm not loving the way it looks underneath my eyes. Again though, my skin is very dry right now because of being in the sun, so that also could be playing a huge role in this. I am going to try out the powder with other concealers that I know I love and work well for me and see how I like it with that. And I'm also going to try this concealer with other powders that I know love and I love and work for me and see kind of how I'm feeling. This is what I am thinking on why I'm not loving it, because this is more of a natural finish concealer. It's not like the heart-shaped tape where you apply it and it dries down and then when you put your powder on top, it just kind of sits on top of it and absorbs any like little extra moisture that's there. I think sometimes when you use like a baking powder, a loose powder with a concealer that has more of a natural finish, it just doesn't look as good because the powder has to do that much more work in absorbing the extra moisture. Because more of a natural finish concealer is going to stay a little bit tacky. It's going to just have a little bit more slip to it than a full coverage matte concealer. So the powder is going to have to do a little bit more work in absorbing any moisture in that area, and sometimes it could come off a little cakey, rather than just using a concealer that dries down to more of a matte finish and applying a little bit of powder just to kind of set that area. I just feel like it looks a lot more airbrushed, where natural concealers and heavy powders, I don't know, I just feel like they don't really go that well together. So it doesn't mean it's a bad powder. I think if anything, it just could be my skin. I will keep you guys updated. I will let you guys know maybe like one of my upcoming future videos, or I'll update you in the description box, because like I said, I want to try this with a concealer that actually I know that works and for me and I love, and then I want to try this concealer with a powder that I know works for me and love. But as of now, I'm not loving the way the under eye is looking. It's not bad, but I'm not loving it. So for the rest of my face, to set it, I'm going to be using the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless powder in 310 Sun Beige. And yeah, I'm just gonna apply this with a big fluffy brush. I will say this, if you have drier skin, I'm not sure if you like this, foundation only because I have dry skin on my nose right now since I'm sunburnt, like I said a million times, and I'm not really loving the way it's sitting on there. But the rest of my skin, like, it looks totally fine. So I'm gonna let this kind of sit on my skin, do its thing, do the rest of my makeup, and come back and give you more of my final thoughts and let you guys know what products I like from the line, which products I don't, and we'll kind of go from there. Alright you guys, so the rest of my face is on. If you're wondering, I did use the Magic Mini palette on my eyes as well as the Saharan 2, and then for my highlight I used the Juvias Place Royalty 2 loose highlighter. So overall, my thoughts on the foundation, the concealer, and the powder is they're all good. They're not great. They didn't knock my socks off, but I will definitely continue to use them. I do like the foundation. It doesn't compare to my L'Oreal foundation, but I do like it. I think that it did look really nice on the skin. The shade is perfect. Like, I feel like it's a really nice tone for me. It has that really warm olivey undertone, which I need in foundations, especially in the summertime. So I love the shade and I do like it. I feel like it gives a really beautiful finish. The only thing I'm not loving is the way it's sitting on my nose, and that's because it is very dry on my nose right now, and I feel like it's kind of clinging, but it's not bad. It's really not that bad the way it's sitting. But yeah, I don't love it in that area. But again, it is a matte foundation, so it's not going to really work with dry skin. It's not matte foundations are really supposed to work with dry skin. But I do like it, and I feel like, okay, so if I look at this area here, which is normal for me, it's not dry here, I wasn't sunburnt here, I feel like it looks really flawless and it looks really nice. It's just the nose area that I'm not loving, and I'm just not loving the concealer and the powder together. I feel like I really love them separately, if that makes sense. I just don't love them together. I feel like this concealer is a little bit too creamy and like wet for like a heavier loose powder like this. Yeah, so I definitely feel like I will try this with different powders to see what I like, and this powder with different concealers to see what I like. But I just don't know. It doesn't look bad underneath my eyes. It just doesn't look flawless. It doesn't look airbrushed. It kind of just looks like It kind of looks a little dry, to be honest. Yeah, I don't love the under eye area, but it's not bad. Like, if I'm just looking in like a regular distance from here, it's totally fine. It's just when I get up closer to the mirror and I really examine, I'm not loving what I see. But again, I truly believe that I would love each one of these products separately, just not together, which is kind of unfortunate, because if you come out with a complexion line, you want the products to all work together perfectly, which kind of random, but I feel like Juvia's Place is a little random with their products. Like, even their eyeshadow palettes, don't get me wrong, their eyeshadows are some of my favorite eyeshadows I've ever used. I love their eyeshadow palettes so much, but sometimes even the colors just don't go together. Like, I always have to reach for another palette when using one of theirs, because I feel like not all the palettes you can create a complete look with, just because not all the colors go together. Sometimes there's just random colors thrown in there, and it's fine, it works with the brand, and I still love the brand, but it's just sometimes I feel like they're a little bit random, and I feel like that was kind of the situation with these two as well. Like, it's a good concealer, it's a good powder, but do they work together? I don't know. And I feel like if you're going to come out with a complexion line, everything should kind of work together. Like, I even find that it's really interesting that this foundation is more full coverage than the concealer, which is usually the opposite way. And I get what they were kind of going for. Like, this is a really matte full coverage foundation, so they probably thought, why don't we do a lighter weight, more creamy concealer to kind of balance each other out, and it's not too heavy and too cakey. So I get what they were going for. I just don't know. It's just interesting, because usually the concealer is more full coverage than the foundation and has more of a matte finish, where this is like more of a creamy natural finish. But it does work. In a weird way, it does work together. So yeah, sometimes I just feel like they're a little bit random with their products, and they don't always all go together. Sorry, my phone is ringing and I don't know who this is. Nothing against them. I just feel like sometimes not all the products work together, and I feel like that's kind of the situation going on. But I could be wrong. It could just be my skin. I'll leave updates in the description box because I do plan on wearing this quite a few times over the next week or so. So if you want an update, check the description box in like a week. Also, you can follow me on Instagram. I'll probably update you guys on there. But yeah, I don't know. Not bad. Definitely like the foundation. Like I said, I want to give the concealer and the powder a chance with other products. But overall, like, my skin doesn't look bad. It looks good. Especially, like, I feel like on camera it looks pretty good. So yeah, so that is my first thoughts and first impressions on the Juvias Place foundation, concealer, and powder. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in my next video.
I'm a fool for your love.